What's going on, everybody? Tonopod Jim here, and I just wanted to come in here and switch gears and do a different kind of review than you're used to seeing from me. As a lot of you may know, the Super Bowl has ended and the NFL has ended, and they decided to start up another football league called the XFL. The XFL is actually this is the second go around at it, as a lot of you may know. In 2001, they tried to do it and it failed miserably. It wasn't a good product at all. I mean, it was started by the guy Vince McMahon that started the WWE, had a lot of success, and he thought he could turn entertainment with your bad football, and it just didn't work. And even though the ratings were good in week one, they declined seriously, and the product was not good at all. Um, Other football leagues have tried, and actually the USFL, I'm old enough to say that, back in the 80s, they were actually successful, but greed took them down. They wanted to merge with the NFL, and but they actually had good players. Last year we saw the AAF. They did not do well. In fact, that league folded before they could even finish the season. And honestly, I really didn't like their product at all. The fact of the matter is, I'd like to see games start with a kickoff, and they just start playing. It didn't really work for me. And not only that, after week one, you couldn't really find the games. I mean, CBS Sports Network, Bleacher Report, that's not really where I go for my sports. This incarnation of the XFL, they're on Fox, ABC, ESPN, all the first places that I look for sports. So I'm going to give it a full review. Those of you that know, when I do reviews, I do thorough reviews. It's been 2 weeks now. I watched all the games. There were 8 games. So I'm going to give you my thoughts. And I didn't want to jump in like right after I saw the first game. I wanted to give it some time to breathe, see everything that I need to see. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. So let's start with the uniforms. When I look at 7 of the 8 teams, I actually see a professional uniform. Now, if you compare that with last year's AAF, a lot of those uniforms look like pajama tops, to be honest with you. And I just I couldn't really get into that product. But with 7 of the 8 teams, and yes, I'm looking at you, Dallas, Dallas, what are they called? The Renegades. I should have done my homework a little bit better. Those little shoulders, the black shoulders and the teal bluish shoulder and those bluish helmets, they just don't look and scream professional team at me. They kind of look a little bit like the old XFL, and they also look a little bit like an arena football team. I'm not saying anything about the quality of play of that team. I'm just saying, maybe you need to work on that. Maybe make those helmets a little black or white or silver, something to that effect, and take away the different color shoulder. I think it would look more crisp and more professional. All the other 7 teams, though, did look very good. Let's talk about the broadcast itself. Like I said, they were on ABC, ESPN, and Fox. And the thing that impressed me the most, in the last year's AAF, you saw a lot of announcers you never heard of or haven't heard in a long time, and have been out of the spotlight for a long time. These are big time college football and NFL announcers. You hear, like on Fox, you heard Kevin Burkhardt and Kurt Menefee, Joel Klatt, who does the lead college football games. On ABC and ESPN, you had Steve Levy, who was one of the lead college football guys, and then you see Brock Hewitt on the sidelines for Fox. So, and I can't say enough. I wish I would have seen him again this week. Pat McAfee is really going to add a lot to that broadcast if they keep bringing him to the sidelines. So when you watch a game, it kind of reminded me of the USFL, who had some success. It felt big time. It felt, you had quality announcers there, and so it felt like you were going to watch something good. Next thing I want to talk about is the rules. One thing that other football leagues have done is they've made the rules so hokey pokey that I really couldn't get into. XFL has made some tweaks, some for the good, some not so good. But at least when I'm watching this, I know I'm actually watching football, and there's not too much deviation from it. Every time a new league starts up, one of the things that they always tend to do is they tend to steal something from that league as soon as it folds, or even before it actually folds. They stole some camera angles and some announcers from the USFL. The old XFL, even though it was bad, uh, they took a lot of the camera angles and shots and the little sky cam that flies around in the air. Guess what? They're using that in the NFL today. One thing I think for sure that the NFL is probably going to do is this kickoff that the new XFL is doing. I really like it. It's good for player safety. And in case you haven't seen it yet, basically what it is the kicker lines up at his own 30. His The kicking team actually lines up at the other 35, and the receiving team lines up at the 30, and then the returner lines up like right around the 5 or 10 yard line, just depending on what strategies each team will use. It avoids those high speed collisions, and you're almost guaranteed a return on every single kickoff, which in the NFL and college football these days, you don't see so much. They're all wanting touchbacks because they're trying to keep their players safe. So I think this is good because if they don't institute this in the NFL, you're probably going to see the kickoff going away. So they're going to take the foot out of football. We can't have that. So anyway, I was so impressed by that. The conversions, you have an option of going for 1, 2, and 3 point. I think that's pretty neat. The 3 point conversion is really good. After watching 8 games, I don't know why the hell you don't just go for three every time. They're only hitting on those 1 and 2 point conversions like 30% of the time, and we've seen 3 pointers tried in the XFL now, and 1 of 2 converted. So that's a higher percentage. So why not go for two every time? But anyway, I'm not a coach, and I'm just a fan that wants to be entertained. Um, One of the things that they're going to struggle with is the quality of play. This is not the NFL. It's not going to be the NFL. But it's probably at the same level of college football. They just need to get some bigger crowds out there. People to support the product. But you did see a lot of receivers shortening up their routes, not running clean routes. You've seen linemen that weren't blocking as well as they do in the NFL or even in college, to be honest with you. Right now, honestly, I could see two really good quarterbacks. That's Cardell Jones of the DC Defenders and PJ Walker of the Houston Roughnecks. That's probably going to be your championship game. The quarterback play needs to get better. That's for sure. There are some that have a chance, like Josh Johnson and Landry Jones are probably going to be pretty good. Jordan Tamu, this league's going to be good for him because he's going to get some experience. He's only 22 years old, so I think he's going to end up on an NFL roster someday. But he may need a year or two of seasoning. These are reps that he wouldn't be getting just sitting the bench on a practice squad in the NFL. So the quality of play, I think, will get better. Offensive lines do take a long time to gel, but you can tell they're actually ready for this. The league actually just wants to create its own stars, and they have already. Cardell Jones, PJ Walker. In Dallas, you got that Cameron Artis-Payne, that running back that's pretty good. In LA, you got what's that receiver's name? Nelson Spruce, 200-yard games. He had 2 touchdowns this week, so they're going to get there. Just the people need to watch, and plus it's a downtime in sports. And by the time that the issue that I'm seeing right now is by the time that the league gets rolling, teams are starting to gel together, playoff push is coming, you're going to run into March Madness. And then after March Madness is over, baseball is going to be starting. So it's going to be really interesting to see. But they did say the league is funded for 3 years. So it's not going to be one of those 1 year and done things. Another issue that I think the league can run into is once they do create these stars, they're probably bolting for the NFL. So there's that. But I do think it can be supported. I mean, one of the smart things that I did see is a lot of these teams, like the LA team and the DC team for sure, are playing in soccer stadiums. But then, like Seattle, they had a big crowd. They had 30,000 fans fill up what is it called, the CenturyLink Field in Seattle. But you also seen a lot of people dressed up like Spyro the Dragon. It made me want to break out my PlayStation 1 and start playing Spyro with my kids. But anyway, I thought that was very cool. The other thing when it comes to the fans, the little beer cup snake thing that they did, I don't know if much of it got caught on camera, but it was really cool where everybody's just taking their beer cups and stacking them up, and they're holding. Next thing you know, you have 7 rows in the stadium of cups, and they actually walked out of the stadium with that. Fun things like that are going to make this league work. So I was really excited about that. I'm really excited to see football extended. I mean, heck, I want to sit on my couch instead of instead of going outside and doing yard work. So anyway, if my wife watches this, she's probably going to kick my ass right now. But anyway, I really really enjoyed the product. It needs to get better for people to stay engaged in it. We haven't seen a home game in St. Louis yet, but from what I understand, they're going to have about 40,000 people for that game. So if the fans keep supporting it, they're going to bring it to you. And like that song says, X going to give it to you. They're going to give it to you. It's just pretty good. Another thing I want to talk about on the broadcast itself is the sideline interviews. I mean, if a guy fumbles the ball right away, they're going over and talking to him. And we actually kind of seen the negative side of that on Saturday when Matt McGloin was throwing 2 interceptions, and he basically threw his teammates under the bus right there on camera. So and you see a few people saying the F word a few times on camera. So you ask for the access, you're going to get the access. And and during the heat of battle, let's be honest, people swear in the heat of the moment. So you're going to see that. So I think if they cut down on those sideline interviews, and you did start to see a little bit of that, week 1 it felt intrusive. But this last week, it's not so much, basically just after big events in the game. So if I think they keep it to that, it'll be good. If I had to describe the league in one word, it would be fun. You've seen a lot of fun things out there. They're not the NFL. No, in fact, some of them are even at the level of a college team. I mean, I think if you had something to compare it to, since I'm a big fan of the Big Ten, um, probably something like a Michigan State versus Purdue type of level. I mean, not games that people would want to see. But if you're a hardcore football fan, you enjoy football, and it's an escape for a few hours on a Saturday or a Sunday, I will go ahead and do it. So anyway. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you're a good person, hit the share button, share it with all your friends. And if this video gets enough views, maybe I might do more like this. Otherwise, I'll go back to the other thing. So anyway, hey, I will see you next time.